everyone, it's Kathy and welcome back here in my craft room and on my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. If you're new to my channel and you like what you see, I would appreciate a thumbs up and think about subscribing. It doesn't cost a dime. It's absolutely free, and if you ring that little bell, you can choose how you get notifications, and that way you can always be notified every time I put up a video. Now, I do record 3 times a week, actually twice a week, and on Fridays it's live. So my schedule is as follows. I have a recorded video up at 12 o'clock noon every Tuesday, unless otherwise notified. I do a live on Friday at 2 p.m. and I do another recorded video Saturday at 12 noon. Now, if there's any change to this schedule, I will let y'all know on the Facebook group, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. So if you haven't joined our group, go over and join there. All announcements and things like that will be posted there. And if it is a change in schedule for those who do not do Facebook, there will be a little ditty of some sort that I'll put up on YouTube saying that there's been a change in the schedule. You can also check my blog out, and the address for my blog is located below this video, and that's another place where you can get all the resources you need. Okay, we got all of that out of the way, so now we're ready to look at what we're going to do today. This is such a beautiful, beautiful suite, and this is Night Divine and Stars at Night, and this collection is actually in the mini catalog, and let me pull that out and I'll show you. It is a stunning, absolutely stunning collection. Now, if you get the whole collection, you get the Night Divine, the Stars at Night bundle. This is also a bundle. You get the embellishment, which are the adhesive back star trinkets, beautiful Night of Navy ribbon that is glittered in gold. You get the specialty paper that is called Shining Brightly, and you also get the Oh Holy Night DSP. This is a absolutely great bundle to have. Not just bundle, but sweet collection, and it's sweet more than S-U-I-T-E. It's also S-W-E-E-T. I love this because I love the meaning of what Christmas is really about, and it is about the birth of our Savior. So I saw a lady named Mary Detheridge that did this card, and I had to case it. Now, I would say that mine is almost like hers, but I guess, you know, no two cards are the same. And it sort of depicts in a fun fold the Oh Holy Night. We have the star shining brightly. We have the animals out in the field with the beautiful star shining. And then we have the Nativity with our Holy Family, the wise men, a shepherd, and of course a little white sheep that represents the purity of Jesus. So this card looks like it's complicated to make, but it really isn't. It will sit on a even surface like that. It is great to display, and it was fun to make. So we're going to get started, but I want to show you real quick what we're going to use. For the circle on the front, I'm using the Stylish Shapes. I'm using that largest circle. We are going to use, for the animals and for the Holy Family, Night Divine dies. For our sentiments, we're going to use Night Divine, O Holy Night, and Glory to God in the Highest. We're also going to be using the Stars at Night dies and the hybrid embossing folder. And I think that's everything except our paper. The O Holy Night Designer Series paper we're going to be using. Distressed Gold specialty paper we're going to be using, and then I have some scraps of white, a piece of Night of Navy, I have a piece of Crumb Cake, a piece of Basic Black, and then of course our DSP. So let's go ahead, and the first thing I want to do is get all of our pieces cut, and then we'll do some stamping and die cutting. So let's do this first. Let's go ahead and cut our base first, and the absolute base of this card is going to just be a 1/4 sheet of black cardstock. So I'm going to bring my trimmer out, And I'm going to move this over here just to kind of get it out of my way. And we're going to line this up at the top of our trimmer, and we're going to go all the way over to 5 1/2, because half of 11 is 5 1/2. This is my 11-inch side across the top. And make sure when you're cutting that you push your paper all the way up to that lip to make sure you get a nice even cut. And then we're going to turn this piece in half, and we're going to cut it 4 1/4. So when you finish, you're going to have a card base like this that is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. Lay that to the side. Now we're also going to need a piece of crumb cake. Now this piece needs to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I put it on 5, and then every other mark, 1, 2, 3. That's 3/8. All right, so we have that piece cut. Then we need a little strip of white for die cutting. So we're going to do a 1-inch strip, and this is going to be for our stars and our little sheep. So that's for die cutting. And then we're going to need a piece that is about 4 1/4, I think. Let me look at that die and we can see exactly what we need to cut this at. And I like to do this when I'm cutting paper or cardstock. I like to make sure that I'm getting the amount that I need to make my die cut. Alright, so I'm going to lay this down like so. Actually, I think 3 3/4 is going to work. So 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then that's going to be for that. And then we're going to need to cut a couple of pieces of our designer series paper. Now I've already cut this piece. Well, I haven't cut it. I made my my prototype from this piece. So we're going to cut this at 5 1/4, and let's turn it this way. 5 1/2. It needs to be 5 1/2. So we're going to have this nice little strip left over. Don't throw it away, because you could use that on another card for a side piece or whatever. Now we're going to leave this at 12 inches. So this is 5 1/2 by 12. Alright, so that we've got those done. So now we need some more crumb cake. So we need some crumb cake that is cut at 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So that looks like that is, no, not quite. 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And we're going to need 2 of these. So 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. Okay, so we got all of our pieces are cut now. Other than we are going to do some die cutting from a piece of this. So we're going to need, probably can use that piece, but we need a little bit more. So I'm going to cut another strip off of this that is about 2 1/2 inches. And this is that distressed gold that's so pretty. Now I've gone ahead and die cut some of our foil pieces So we already have those cut. We won't have to do those. But I'll show you what I did. And I just used regular gold foil for those. So let's set this out of our way and get our paper out of our way. And all of my scraps, we'll set those out of the way for right now. Alright, the next thing I want to do is bring up my scoreboard, because we do need to score in a couple of places on our piece of DSP that is 5.5 by 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my stylus, but I'm going to use, since this is paper and not cardstock, I'm going to use that larger ball. You got two sides on this. You got a small one and a larger one. Anytime you're doing designer series paper or anything that's thinner than heavy cardstock, use the one with the larger ball. It will keep from tearing your paper. And the scores on this are so simple. We're going to score at 2, 4, 6, and 8. 2, 4, 6, and 8. So simple, huh? So far, so good. And once you put this card together, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's really a simple card to do. Now I'm going to fold that over like that, and as I fold, I'm going to use my bone folder, and I am going to give it a good crease like that. This piece, actually, I'm going to fold it both directions because I want to make sure that I'm getting good score lines on this so that it will lay well. So all I'm doing is accordion fold, and when you accordion fold, just try to make sure that everything is lining up as you go. What I mean by that is make sure it's straight all the way down. You're not getting crookedness in it. Like that. And then you got one more, like right here. And this is what your fold is going to look like. But we're going to do a little fancy footwork. We're going to glue this to here and this to here, so that when it opens, we will have these two flaps like that. So go ahead and take your glue. And then push that over on top. And I like to take my bone folder and just go back over top of that area that I glued, just to make sure everything adheres. So now we're going to glue this piece to this. It's very simple. You just, on those back parts of the flaps, you're just bringing them together. So I'm going to use some glue along here. And then we're just going to close that down just like that. I got a little bit of an ooze right there, but that's okay. We'll just... And then I'm going to give that a really good press. I'm going to go back and I'm going to press it with my bone folder. Again, the more that you crease this, the better. The better your card is going to lie. Alright, now we have our card base done. We got these two mats here that we're going to put down together, and then this is going to go on top of that. So it is going to be, you know what, I think I'm leaving that one out. That'll take a little bit of bulk out of the card. I don't know. I don't see why not. That piece is not going to show. So let's just go ahead and put it directly down onto our black. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the back of this. And you could use Stampin' Seal. You could use tear and tape here if you wanted to. I'm a fan of my glue. So I'm just going to get a good amount of glue there on the back of it. And I'm going to hold this together like this and see if I can get this down on here nice and even. Just like that. Alright, so the next thing I want to do, we've built our card base. Now we want to go ahead and, oh, I forgot to cut one other thing. Let me grab my designer series paper, because remember I told you we were going to need some out of the sand. I do need to cut 2 pieces out of it. We need a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So let me grab my trimmer again. No, I'm sorry, that's going to be 3 inches. 3 inches by 4 1/4. 3 inches by 4 1/4. And then again 3 inches by 4 1/4. Thought I was done with all my cutting, and then I realized I did not cut those 2 pieces. Now all of these measurements are going to be on my blog, so you don't have to worry about trying to write everything down as I go, because that will not be necessary. Alright, we've got this and we've got these pieces. Now remember the 2 pieces of crumb cake that we cut? We want to mat the sand colored paper on top of this. Just like that. So whatever you cut out, it doesn't matter, that it's just going to go down like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to put glue on the back side of this. And I'm going to lay, I find it easier if I go sideways with these, because if I line it up at the top and I can see the side to the side, I usually stand a much better chance of getting it on there nice and straight. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. Okay, we have those done. And now these are the pieces that's going to go, yeah, this is going to go here. And then the other one is going to tuck in behind it like that. But it's going to come out a little bit. So let's do some die cutting. So we have, what did I do with my black? Here's my scraps. Alright, I have that piece of black. I am going to do a little bit of die cutting here. So I'm going to use my electronic machine because it's right here beside me. And I'm going to lay this piece of black on here. And I'm going to grab my Night Divine, and I want to cut out a little donkey, the cow, the camel, and the Holy Family. I'm just going to go ahead and cover this up, and I'm going to run this through my die, or my die machine. there's one of our little animals. That's a little cow. Here's our donkey. Unconventional way of getting your cardstock out of your dies, but hey, it works for me. So I say, if it works, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's how I get my dies out. Like I said, a bit unconventional, but it does work. Oh, there we go. So I have my family, I have my camel, my donkey, and my cow. So let's lay those over there. Oh, one other thing while we're die cutting, we need to do some stars and the sheep. So let's do a little sheep. And we need some of the little stars. And you get 2 of these little stars, so we're going to actually cut them twice, because we're going to cut that one and that one. And then we're going to come back and cut it again. So I think we need a total of 3. But we got plenty of room in that strip to get the other 2 out, so not a problem. Okay, so we have our stars. Oh, that one just wants to be, there it went. I was going to say it wants to be persnickety and not come out, but it did. So there's our stars. I'm going to lay those over here with our other die cuts, trying to keep everything together. And then there is our little lamb. Isn't that cute? So we'll lay him over there. Now all we need to do is run it back through again for our last 2 stars. So now we have these stars cut. See, that works every time. And I didn't have to get a pick out and pick them out or anything. So that piece can go in the trash because we've used that piece up definitely. The last thing that I need to die cut, or the last 2 things, oh, you know what? I don't have to cut the stars after all. I have all of my stars already cut. I even had some of the white ones cut. Oh well. It's alright. We'll use what we got. We might use those somewhere else. I have that one and this one, and these are the 2 pieces I need. These were just extras, so I'm just going to hang on to those for another card. But this is going to go on here like that. So we'll glue that down, and that gives that some dimension. These are 2 pieces from the dies, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. These are the dies. You have this set of 3 that's combined, and they work beautifully with your hybrid embossing folder. Now I cut mine out first, and then I laid the pieces back in and ran them through. And then I got that beautiful dimension on them, and that was on the gold foil. The distress gold foil I cut out this piece and this piece. And we're going to layer those on top of each other, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It was this piece for that one and this piece for that one, and we're just going to layer them. So we'll put some glue on those and get them layered up. Oh, one more thing, we got to cut our circle that's going to go on the front of our card. So I'm going to lay this down here and put my circle right there. And let's run this through, and then we'll be ready to do some stamping, heat embossing, and put this card together. And I think it's going to come together beautifully. Alright, we have our circle. Alright, so let's bring our pieces over now. And I think what I want to do is I'm going to use this piece for my animals. Actually, I needed the darker piece for it. Alright, I'm going to save this one. I'm going to cut a different piece for that piece. I don't know what I was thinking, but evidently I wasn't, because I did the wrong piece. So back to my Oh Holy Night Designer Series paper, and this is the piece that I want, because I want a piece of the town, and I think I'm going to do it off of this piece right here. And we need that piece to be let's see, I got my measurements written down. Let me look real quick. 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. Nope, that's 3 by 4 1/4. 3 by 4 1/4. Alright, so now we have the right piece. Okay, we can get it out of this, and this one needs to be three and 1/4. Four and 1/2. Wanted to make sure I get my measurements perfectly right, because that's important. Okay, now this one we're going to lay over here so we don't get it confused with anything else, and this one is going to go on here like so. All right, much better. So this one is going to go in here, and one of these stars is going to go right here, and then we're going to put our animals like here. And Just something like that. Isn't that pretty? So we'll glue those down. This one, we are going to do some heat embossing. So we're going to put the family here. And I want to do a little something extra right there on the family itself. So let's hold off on doing this. I want to stamp my sentiment. And I also need my circle. Because what we're going to do, we're going to put this larger stamp, or the larger die of the star, right here on the front of the card. But we need to do some fancy footwork on that. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and glue down what we've already decided where we're going to put what. So for this, I'm just going to take a little dab of glue, put it right there, and I'm going to sit the star right down on it. Give it a press. Now I have some embellishments. I have the flat adhesive back pearls, and I'm going to use one of these. Right in the middle of my star, just to give it a little something extra. Like that. Then we're going to glue our animals on. And here the only thing you want to pay attention to is kind of getting them straight. I think that would probably be an important thing. And as you can see, it's not a hard card. This is probably not a card that you would make like a mass production. This would be a card that you would make for someone that's extremely special to you, because it is a time-consuming card. Not hard, just time-consuming. Oh, I still got pieces that was in here that needed to be popped out. There we go. That will definitely make our camel look more real. Alright, so we have that panel is ready to go. So now we need to go and work on this panel, and this is the one that our nativity scene is going to be on. And I want to stamp up here like I did here, glory to God in the highest. And I do want to use, let's see, we're going to use this star. So I want to kind of feel out where I want to put my star, so I'll know exactly where I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the back of this and glue it to the other piece. And I'm going to start out by matching up the center of the stars. Like that. I want to find some let me go off because I want to look for some something a little different here to do with just the Holy Family, Mary, Joseph, and the baby. And I got a couple of ideas what I want to do. A little bit different than what I did in this one, but we're going to see how it pans out and how it shows up. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I think I know exactly what I want to do now. I want to cut from the Nativity, the actual, this die right here. I want to cut a small piece of a different cardstock, and what I thought about I would use is this holographic paper, but there is a dark piece in there that looks like this, and I want to cut a piece off of the blue side right here, and I'm going to cut this out again, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to trim it. So I'm going to take my scissors because I only want a small piece of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut just like this, just to get myself the piece the size I need it to be. And I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. Like so. And let's go ahead and shoot that through. And then I also have a piece of gold. Let's see if we can knock that out. Just about. There we go. I knew it would come out eventually. Alright, what I want to do is, because that is so pretty, I want to cut out just the Mary and and Joseph. So I'm going to take my paper snips, if I can find them. Here they are. Let's move this back over here. We're going to use that again in just a minute. But I'm going to cut right about there and right about here. And what I want to do is I want to glue this on top of that so that that Mary and Joseph kind of stands out. And I want to do something a little bit different with the manger. And what I want to do with that is I'm going to cut a small piece of this gold. And we're doing what's known as paper piecing. I'm going to take just where the manger's at, and I'm going to put this over top of it. And I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. So, just like that. Like I said, there's some work involved in this card, but I think it's going to be so worth it when everything is done and said, because we are going to have a card that's going to stand out from most cards. And again, like I said, I really do thank Mary Deathridge for doing this card. Now, whether this is her design or not, I don't know, because, you know, we all case from each other, and every now and then somebody will come up with something that's all theirs, but I can promise you that everything has been done at one point or another. Toby, come here, baby. Tobes. Now Toby is in there showing himself. I don't know what he's hearing, but he's hearing something. Come here, baby. He's gotten really bad during the day where he wants to bark, and that's just not like him at all. So what I want to do is I want to put a tiny bit of glue on top of that. Let's see if we can get this glued down first. Let's do it this way. I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to grab my glue gun, and I'm going to put just a tiny bit of glue right there. And then I'm going to take my sticky part of my take your pick tool, and I'm going to lay that down just where I want it. Just like that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now I can take this and I'm going to put glue on here. So a little, let me pull that little bit of glue off, and I'm just going to, you see what I'm doing? I'm just barely dabbing some glue. Just like that. It's not going to take a whole lot of glue to hold this. The main thing is getting it over top of the other pieces so that it doesn't look like you've got a shadow. Alright, so now I'm going to bring this down to the bottom of my card, or my panel, and I am going to put glue on the back of this. So you just want to make sure you're getting a good amount of glue. Something like that. And then I'm going to set this down to the bottom, as far down as I can possibly get it. Like that. Now, before I put the star down, I am going to, maybe I'll put the star right about here. I want to stamp over on this side from my stamp set it's going to be Glory to God in the Highest. And we are going to stamp it using our VersaFine ink. I may have to raise up my that'll work, because I can stick the star up underneath there just a little bit. So we're going to do our stamp right about here, and I'm trying to decide, do I want to use a stamp positioner or do I just want to go rogue with it? I've already done a lot of work on this piece to go rogue, haven't I? So let's go ahead. I'm gonna bring out my stamp apparatus because it's right here. I do have a silicone mat in it that I need to take out. So I'm just going to peel this off. And then I'm going to bring my stamp apparatus right about here. Let's grab a couple of magnets. And I'm going to put one right there. These magnets are so strong. One right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick, no, that's not quite straight. Let's straighten it up. I think that might be, yeah, that's much better. Alright, so now I'm going to grab my VersaFine, my Versamark ink, not VersaFine, Versamark, and I am going to ink this up really good. I'm going to bring my stamp up underneath here, and I am sorry, but the stamp apparatus is no longer available through Stampin' Up, and it does make me sad that they were forced to take it off the market. It was not their decision. So I am sorry for that. It is a great tool to have. I like using this when I'm using the cling stamps, but for my photopolymer stamps I have really embraced my stamp wheel. I'm going to go ahead and do this one more time. That was where I wanted to use the Stamparatus. I'll probably do the same thing with my circle. So I'm going to stamp that one more time. That looks good. And I did forget to use my embossing buddy, but oh well. Let's cover that ink up before we bring up our embossing powder. And let me clean the stamp really quick. And I'm just going to squirt it with some spray. And use my microfiber cloth. Now I've just recently found these microfiber cloths on Amazon, and they are perfect. They don't cling to your hands. They're very soft. They're actually made to take makeup off of your face, and you get a big pack of them. I think there was 12 in a pack. They were not that expensive, so I will link that on my Amazon links. So if you're interested in picking those up, you can. They're absolutely wonderful. I am enthralled with them. I even took one out and used it for my makeup because I always need a nice soft cloth to take my makeup off with. Alright, let's bring this back over and let me pull my embossing powder out. So I have my white embossing powder right here. At some point I need to sift this. I'm going to go this way because I don't want to get it behind my image that I have, this area down here, so I'm letting it fall down. If that makes any sense whatsoever. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to take your pick tool and just really give it a good tap, and that looks beautiful. Look at that. So let's go ahead and cover this up. See if we got any on it. I did pretty good. I didn't get any on my desk, which is amazing. I'm going to grab my heat tool, and this is the Stampin' Up! Heat tool, and it is really a great tool to have in your arsenal. If you like to do heat embossing, you need a good heat tool, and this one is one of the best. It has two settings. It has a 1 and a 2. 1 if you're needing to dry some watercoloring or dry some ink that's maybe taken longer to dry than you like. This is perfect for that. But on 2 is what you want to do your heat embossing. You need it good and hot. I'm going to let this get warm before I actually start using it, so give me just a second. Alright, we got our heat embossing done, and look how beautiful that is. So pretty. Alright, I'm going to kind of bend that a little bit because it did warp just a bit. The heat will do that, but we can lay it back down and it's great. Alright, the next thing that I want to do is some heat embossing on this. Now I did this just in using the Versamark. I didn't like this because if you look at it closely, it doesn't look like it got a good image. I'm going to try something a little different with this. I'm going to bring my Stamparatus back over, and I'm going to put this down like here and here. I don't want this to move at all. I didn't use my embossing buddy on the other one, but I got by with it because it's on a sand colored paper. This I probably can't get by with it, so I am going to use my embossing buddy. This is anti-static. If you're not familiar with heat embossing, sometimes if you got static in your paper, it will leave embossing powder where you don't want it. And this helps it only to stick to the ink that you have put down. So I'm going to grab my white ink pad, and I haven't used this in a while, so I hope that it's still good and wet. And I'm going to bring this down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now since I got this all prepped and ready, I am ready to grab my Oh Holy Night, deciding where I want to position it, because I know that I want I think I'm going to position it like this. I think that's perfect because that'll give me a place for the star to come down over on this side, and I'll still have some places right here, or maybe more like that. Yeah, I think like that's good. So let's try it and see if this will work. And I'm going to ink it up. I'm going to ink it first in Versamark, and then I'm going to go back and re-ink it with this white ink. And hopefully by doing it that way, I'll get a much clearer and brighter white image. So I'm giving that a good press. That looks good. So now I'm going to go back over it with the white craft ink. And you see how much of the ink gets on the outside edges? That's why it's important just to rub over top of your image itself, because you don't want that white to go down onto the rest of it. Let's see what we have. Doesn't look white at all, does it? Alright, we're going to try it. We're going to try and see what happens. Oh, it looks like, well, I think that's powder. I hope it's powder. Let's see what happens. We won't know until we try. So we're going to go ahead and heat set this. With some white embossing powder. I am going to use my reverse tweezers on this because it looks like I might have got a little bit better than I did before. That's what we have, and I think I could live with that. I'm going to take my brush and see if I can brush a little bit of this off up here. That's the bad thing when you heat emboss on a dark cardstock. Anywhere that there's any of that powder, it's going to show when you heat set it. So hopefully I got that where we can still get a decent image. We'll try it and see. So moving this out of my way and bringing over my heat tool. And the good thing is the heat tool's already warm, so we shouldn't have too much difficulty in getting this ready to go. So here we go. Alright, I think that one did. We're going to compare them. I really think that this one is a little bit better, so I think it was worth the effort. So actually, I used a bigger circle on that one. This one I used the deckled, and this one. But I really think this one is the better one. I like this much better. And it is smaller, so we're going to see how that's going to transpire on our card. So now that we have this one completed, we can go ahead and put our star down right about here. So I'm going to put some glue on the back of this. And then we're just going to glue this down, and I'm going to stick that right behind the shepherd's head just a little bit, and then straighten it up. Make sure your star is nice and straight. This panel will be done. I'm going to hold that down just for a minute so that can take. Oh, that's so pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? So now for the front, we know we're going to use this big star. And the big star is going to go something like that. And this is going to come where it's about like that. So I'm going to go ahead and commit. I'm going to go ahead and put some dimensionals on the back of this, because we know we can slide something under it if we do dimensionals. So I'm going to put dimensional here and here, there, and there. I think 4 on there would be good. I want that to hang over a little bit like that. And then this piece right here can actually slip underneath here about like that. So when we get ready to glue this down, we're only going to need to glue on this side. So I'm going to hold that over for a minute because we're not ready to put that on. I want to open up the panels, and we're going to work on, I did get a little bit of embossing powder on my desk because it's on the back of my card. That's okay, it brushed off really easy. So what we're going to do first is take this panel, and we're going to put this in something like that. So again, we're only going to need glue over to about there. So I'm going to hold my finger where I know I don't need to glue past where my thumb's at. So I'm just going to squiggle some glue. Is squiggle a proper term in paper crafting? I think it might be. So a little bit of glue down on that side, and then we're going to turn it, and we want to, the main thing you want to do here is making sure that you're getting it in there nice and even and straight as you possibly can. So glue that down right there, like so. Very pretty. So now when we put this on the front, it's going to cover up what's down here, and all you're going to see is that pretty star. And we're going to decorate this star up a little bit too, so it's going to be much better than what it is now. Now let's open our panel one more time. Like this. And now this one is going to go in where it's going to hide behind the other one. Something like that. You want to make sure, the best way to do it would be to line it up like this. And I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal on this part of it, because that way I can just fold down the top of it and it'll be in the perfect spot. So this is a perfect time to use your Stampin' Seal. So I'm just going to run some all the way across while I'm holding it in place. And I'm going to put, just for added assurance, I'm going to put a piece down that way. Now again, I'm going to make sure I got that holding in the right position, and then I'm going to fold that down on top of it. So now when you open the card, this is what you're going to have. The only thing left to do is to put this here and put our smaller stars in and do a little bit of embellishment, and this card will be ready. So for this piece here, remember I only need glue right there on that side, so I know where my thumb's at. I'm going to draw a line with my glue, and then I can just fill in over on this side. And then I'm going to tuck this up underneath that star just a little bit and bring it down a little bit. And I'm going to look and make sure I don't have any glue exposed right there, because you don't want it to glue to the other part of your card. So now we've got these little white pieces left, the little white stars and our little white lamb, which I think is so cute. We're going to put a star here. So again, I'm just going to put a dot of glue. And put that one down right there. And maybe one right here. And again, just a dot of glue is all you need. Just like that. Now for my embellishments, for embellishing the stars, I love those, what did I do with them? The little flat oval I know they're here because I just had them. Okay, here they are. I knew I had them. They were right here on my desk because I used them a while ago on that star. So I knew they had to be here. So again, I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool and I'm going to pull off one of the small ones. We don't need the big ones for this. And I'm going to set that right in the middle of that star. It just gives it some dimension and it really kind of makes it come to life. So, and this is a card we really want to show. We want to show this card off because it is a beautiful nativity and there's nothing any more precious than that. Alright, for the stars, I have the Holy Night trinket stars, and I'm going to take one of those and I want to put it right in the middle of this star. Again, just to give a little extra something. I'm just going to try to pick that up with my Take Your Pick, but see if I can push out a little bit more of my putty. That'll work right there. Oh, I love that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now the last touch is going to be this little lamb. And this little lamb is going to sit right here. Like that. So for this, I'm going to use just a glue dot because I think that's all we need to hold this in place. And I'm just going to press the glue dot onto the body part of my little lamb. And I think having this little white lamb standing here beside the manger is just a testament to the purity of Christ. And I love that. So he can go right there like that. And that card is done. What do you think? Do y'all love this as much as I do? And I know it seemed like a lot of work, but it really is not a hard card to do. It's just a lot of steps, a lot of die cutting, heat embossing, but it turned out beautiful. I hope you enjoyed me making this card. I hope this is something that you would like to make. And I really want to thank Mary, the lady I mentioned earlier, for the inspiration for this card. It is absolutely gorgeous and I love it. I hope you've enjoyed it. God bless and keep you. If you are interested in purchasing any of the supplies you saw me use in making this card, my website will be right here on the screen. And also, if underneath the video you click on Show More and there'll be a list there. You can go to my blog, you can click on Shop With Me Now, and any of those will take you to the website. And the mini catalog, which has all the beautiful Christmas stuff, is live now, so you're free to shop from it and everything. I'll have all the numbers on my PDF with all the measurements and everything that you need to make this card. Thanks again so much. God bless and keep you, as I said earlier. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Savior. He is worthy. So until next time, take care. Bye-bye.